This is a lesson on left hand technique for classical guitar, or the left hand position for classical guitar. And this video will take part in 3 sections. First, I'll show you some diagrams and pictures with diagrams of the left hand guitar technique from some different angles. Then we'll have a lesson on how to position your hand from the teacher-student perspective. So this right now is the teacher-student perspective, me here, you over there. And then I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod and look at my left hand from my eyes so that you'll see what the player's perspective is, or what you would see your left hand doing if you were looking at it and playing guitar. I think from all these different diagrams and different ways of looking, you'll understand how to hold your left hand after that. Before we begin, let me just say a couple of small things. First thing, make sure you watch the video on posture and guitar position. If your posture and your guitar position is totally off, you can't hold your left hand properly. So there's really no point in watching this video if you haven't first explored your guitar position in general. And I have a full article with high-res photographs and everything for all of this stuff. So there's a link in the YouTube info section for that, so make sure you check out the page. It has actually, text advice as well. So here's the basic sitting position with the left hand coming in there. And my student, same thing. So the arm is generally coming up and is generally straight. It's not too curved or bent, especially in upper positions. The thumb is behind the second finger. The fingers are all curved. Here you can see the arm is generally straight. The wrist is just gently arched. All the fingers are curved. Each joint, ABC, is all curved. The fingers come in at different angles. So the first finger comes in at quite a steep angle there. Second finger and third finger come pretty much straight on. Then the pinky finger also comes in at quite an angle. Okay, now that you've looked at those diagrams, let's just talk about the left-hand position from the teacher-student perspective here. So make sure your guitar is positioned correctly with the head of the guitar kind of at eye level. Make sure you look at that post that I mentioned. And then essentially what you do is you just relax and bring your hand up into the guitar like this. Now I'm going to go through 5 tips for the left hand for beginners and intermediate players. And so we'll review those 5 tips and then we'll go over them one more time and then we'll switch camera views. So the left hand wrist should be straight, not overextended. So remember, if your guitar is too low and too over like this, for example, you might be overextending your wrist. This is a bad idea. If you try to make a fist when your wrist is overextended, you can feel the tendons are all strained. So make sure that the guitar is in a good position so the head is more at eye level, so you can bring your hand right up into the guitar like this and your wrist will be straight. So left hand wrist is straight, not overextended. Left hand palm and knuckles are parallel with the strings. So the knuckles here are all parallel with the strings in this way. They're not like this, not like that, but this is more common, right? Overextended wrist, fingers overextended, not parallel at all. This is correct, this is wrong. There'll be exceptions to this in repertoire, of course, but in general, when we're talking about our hand position, this is correct. Okay, so that it was left hand palm and knuckles are parallel with the strings. Third tip is left hand thumb is vertical and behind the second finger. So it's as if you're grabbing a tennis ball. Your thumb and your middle finger will connect like this. And when you bring it into the guitar, it should be like that as well. So vertical, not off to the side. Behind the second finger simply means like if you're at the first fret, then your first finger would be on the first fret, your second finger on the second fret, and your thumb would be behind your second finger. If you're up at the 5th fret, your first finger would be at the 5th fret, your second finger would be at the 6th fret, so your thumb's behind the 6th fret. There's some leeway in this for personal size and guitar shape and all that kind of stuff, but in general this is like a textbook rule. So next, the left hand fingers are curved and on their fingertips. So not overextended like this. They're curved at every knuckle, and they're playing on their fingertips, not on their pads. Let me just do a quick close-up of that. Just get it focused. There we go. So fingers are curved, not overextended like this. They're curved and they're on their fingertips. So this would be on the pad of your finger. Even this is on the pad. You have to play on your fingertips. So it's kind of like sometimes just moving your whole hand forward a little bit will bring you onto your fingertips. So you have to adjust it a little bit. But that's the basic idea. All right, let me get it focused on me again. So fingers are curved and you play on your fingertips. And then the last tip, this is a tip that I will say to students forever, since for the very first lesson all the way to their very advanced lessons, is playing close to the fret. So you have to play close to the fret. Let me do a close-up and just show you what I mean by this. So this would not be close to the fret. This would be close to the fret. If you're playing at the first fret, this is not close enough. This is close enough. Not there. There. So just a few comments about that is that if you're not close to the fret, it's going to buzz. But if you're close to the fret, it won't buzz. What beginners usually do is that they don't play very close to the fret, and so then they push harder to make it not buzz. Because if you play far away from the fret, you can make it not buzz by pushing really, really hard. But that's not good for your playing, right? And then people complain about tension and stuff like that. And teachers say, relax, relax. Well, if you're close to the fret, you don't have to use, you barely have to use any effort to push this little nylon string down. So with barely any effort, it won't buzz. So that's why professionals can play in a very relaxed way without much tension, is because their technique is so accurate, right? So if you can do that, then you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble with tension and other issues later on. Now, of all the fingers to really be close to the fret, I would really focus on the first finger. Because if the first finger isn't close to the fret, look at all my fingers. They all move that way. The first finger needs to be really close, and then the other fingers, if the knuckles are parallel with the strings, should be pretty close to the frets. Maybe you'll have some problems with some fingers. The second and third finger don't like to separate much, but in general, like I said, these are textbook rules, so play very close to the fret. Here's one more angle that you can view the left hand from. This is just kind of like a close-up of what we were doing before. But again, let's go through those tips. So the left hand wrist is straight, not overextended. So that's one thing. Really bring it really in like this. Just relax. And then the left hand palm and knuckles are parallel with the strings, not like this, but like this. Okay, and then the thumb, you can't really see it, but it's behind the second finger, not off to the side. And the left hand fingers are curved and on their fingertips, so not overextended like this, but really on their fingertips. Not on the pad of the finger, no collapsing knuckles, but really on the fingertips. And then the last one was that the fingers have to be really close to the fret. So again, that is close to the fret. And that is close to the fret, not there, but there. And then this one, sometimes these two fingers don't like to separate much, but still try to be close to the fret. And then the fourth finger, it'll come at an angle, but try your best to get it close to the fret as well. Doesn't matter where you move on the fingerboard, you still generally do that. Okay, so here we are from the player's perspective. This is looking down at your hand, so let's just go through those tips one more time. So the first tip was keep your wrist generally straight. Don't overextend it like that. That would be quite overextended, right? You don't want that. You want your wrist to generally just be coming in kind of in a relaxed way. Okay, the next tip was the knuckles should be parallel with the fingerboard. So in general, all of these knuckles should be like this, not like this. So you don't want this, because you can see these fingers aren't hovering over their potential frets. So all of these fingers have kind of one finger per fret kind of potential, right? And although this finger and this finger come in at an angle, that's essentially how it works. So if you go like this, in order to play these fingers, you'll have to overextend your finger. You don't want that. You want your knuckles parallel with the guitar. Okay, next tip was the left hand thumb is behind the second finger. So you can see there it is. Sometimes it'll be a little bit more over here towards the first finger, but generally behind the second finger and vertical, not sideways like this or like this, but vertical and behind. Not up on its knuckle like that, but relaxed like that. Okay, and then the other one was the fingers are curved and on their fingertips. So the fingers have to be curved. They can't be overextended like this. They have to be curved. And usually by bringing your palm kind of closer to the guitar, that will help curve your fingers. So not playing, and you have to play on your fingertips, like this, not like this. And we never collapse knuckles like this. And if we're not down, sorry, I have to control the camera here. If we're too folded over, you can see I'll hit the string below by accident. So you have to be really on your fingertip to bypass that other string there. See, that's touching that string below, right there. You have to be on your fingertip in order to bypass it. So that doesn't work. This does. And then the last one is the fingers must play really close to the frets. So that isn't good. That is better. Second finger, do that again. That's not close to the fret. That is close to the fret. Not is. Now, sometimes beginners will try to look over at the fingerboard so they can see their hand like that. But remember, you can see the top of the frets. See the top of the frets there? And you can see your fingernails. So you can see if you're close to the fret from this angle. That's close to the fret. That is not, right? That's close. That's not. Close, not, close, not. So make sure you're close to the frets with all your fingers. Now, one other thing is that this finger is going to come in at a bit of an angle like that. So is the pinky finger. It's going to come in at an angle. And then these fingers will come in generally straight on. So that's the left hand position. Now, just for fun, I'm going to take the camera and see if we can get a little bit down into kind of a funky position here. So just one quick word about curving the finger and having the palm close to the guitar. If the palm's out here, see how my finger's touching the string below? Don't want that. You want to be on your fingertip and bypassing that string there. So that wouldn't work. That would. Check it out with a different finger. So if my palm is far away from the guitar and I'm not curved with my finger, it's touching the string below, really on the fingertip, you're bypassing that string. So again, accidentally hitting that string below, now on the fingertip. Hitting the string below, on the fingertip. So that's kind of the left hand position. Hope you enjoyed that video, and make sure to check out the lesson page for the follow-ups on advice for beginners and other posture and right hand technique.